Hey guys, nice to see you again. So it's Liza here. I'm glad to welcome you to the weekly live session. And if you hear me, if you see me, please let me know that everything works smooth because, like, just 3 minutes before the live session, my home Wi Fi connection cut off. And I just had to switch on the mobile connection, the mobile internet. And I'm so scared that something might work not that well. So please, if you see and hear me clearly, let me know that it works. Okay. I hope that this internet connection problem won't cause any troubles. Hello, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. Please let me know that you hear and see me clearly. Okay. It looks like my picture hangs uh, for some moments. Hey, guys. Hello. Okay, Rosie. Thank you so much for letting me know. And hello, guys. I can see that there are some people from Pakistan. What else? So I can also see some regulars. Thanks for coming here. And in order to start earlier, let's just move on to the first part of the presentation. And I would like to I would like to remind you that today's topic is devoted to English grammar for non-native English speakers, for non-native ESL teachers. And well, this topic is really controversial, and I hope that you won't see it as let me say, as an educative session, because it's rather about motivation and understanding how to organize your work and study. So I would like just to share my personal experience and also to hear from you, because English grammar is something really important, but at the same time, people pay too much attention to it, especially when they are not native speakers and when their English isn't that fluent, probably. So this is the topic to discuss from various angles, and that's what we are going to do today. So I won't pay attention to the comments right now, but I can see that there are uh, so many hellos and greetings. I'm so impressed, guys. Thank you so much for coming today. I hope I'll be helpful and informative. So let me just move on to the second slide and show you some stats. So before this session, I decided to ask the audience on our not Facebook, on our YouTube channel, what they find difficult in English learning, either grammar or vocabulary. And as you can see from this very slide, like 68% of people believe that grammar is more difficult than vocabulary. And I think that you're not the exception in this poll, in this question. And well, to me, right now, grammar isn't as difficult as vocabulary. I would say that they are on the same level. But it's my personal opinion, and I will try to explain you why I think so. So when we think of English, when we think of English grammar of being something really challenging, we probably believe that there are too many rules, there are too many contradicting rules, like I learned this, but then the book says that forget about it. There are some problems which don't connect with this particular rule, and this rule won't work this way. However, probably the biggest hurdle in this whole situation would be that English grammar varies a lot from your native tongue's grammar. For example, when we take Russian as an example, there are no articles in Russian, in the Russian language. That is why all Russian speakers struggle to use articles in a correct way. And I believe that the same might happen in your native languages and in your learning paths in English. But, well, let's just vote. Do you think that the above mentioned problems are really those issues to consider when we learn English grammar? So please send me either plus or minus in the chat box. So do you agree that all of those things related to rules and maybe differences between English and the native tongues are really important? What do you guys think? Let's have this bit of communication so that I understand that there are some people behind the screen and we are on the same page. Yeah, so I can see that some of you answer that actually rules and native tongues are really important. However, from my point of view, it doesn't matter that much if we compare those problems to some bigger issues as the ones I listed on this slide. So when we learn English at the earlier stages of our lives, like when we are beginners or maybe intermediate level students, we really find rules and differences between two languages are crucial. However, when we reach like the advanced level or maybe upper intermediate, it turns out that there are some other factors that influence our grammar ability a lot. And you can see them here. So from my point of view, it's really problematic for the non-native English speakers that we don't have that much practice as native speakers. And it's probably obvious. However, we believe that our best choice would be drill theoretical points, drill course books. But it's a great mistake from my point of view, again. And I will prove it. I will try to do that. The second problem actually stems from the first one. So they are like complementary. We don't have the same environment in our countries. Like we are not exposed to English on the regular basis. It's hardly possible to speak English like once or twice a week when we stay, for example, in Russia or in China or anywhere else in the world, but in native English-speaking countries. And even those people, even those countries where tourism is developed well, spend not much time practicing English, although there are many English speakers visiting. And the last point, which I consider really important, is that we don't know how to learn effectively. and we choose the most inefficient strategies. What I mean by saying the most inefficient strategies is that we tend to drill a lot. For example, when we go on the internet and search like advanced English vocabulary, we find a lot of lists of words. Those words are really good. However, they are not helpful at all because they are provided as just word lists. We don't know how to use them in our everyday life. We don't know how they are used in a context. And that's the biggest mistake. So I believe that to reach the advanced level, both in English grammar and English vocabulary and English in general, it's really it's really important that we switch between this old-fashioned way of learning things to the more progressive one, to the more proactive one. And here is what is usually common to advanced level students, like we are, like we teachers are. So we sometimes stick to the habitual, ineffective learning strategies. So we know that drilling isn't effective. We've read it in the methodological courses, right? For example, 2 years ago, no, not 2 years ago, back in 2017, when I took this TEFL course with ITTT, there was a module devoted to the most progressive methods of teaching. And I learned that drilling wasn't effective at that time. I still didn't stop using it myself as a learner. I stopped making my students drill, but I didn't stop doing it myself because it's my bad habit. So I accept it, but I can't help myself stop doing it. And do you have anything like that in your bad habits list? Let me know. Another problem, which is also quite common to the advanced level students, is that we stop taking English classes. So, for example, being an English learner at the intermediate level, we want to level up and we want to reach the advanced level. So in order to do that, we take English classes, we work on our vocabulary and grammar on a regular basis. We want to pass exams and stuff like that. But when we reach this desirable advanced level, we just stop doing it because we feel like, okay, that's enough. I'm okay with the advanced level. So I have already learned English by heart. That's okay. I'm done. And here is the struggle. It's really it's a real con to stop doing that. It's a real con to stop learning English, to stop continuing this English learning process. Another problem would be that many English learners and English teachers don't try to communicate. But communication is something which English is made for, like if we use it as a global language. So to practice grammar, to practice vocabulary, we have to communicate, right? What do you think? And the last point to mention, but not the least, we ignore other opportunities to learn. What I mean by some other opportunities. It's, for example, taking part in competitions in English, or maybe joining a community or a study group in English. So taking as many possibilities to practice English and EDEST, English grammar, in the daily life, it is really important to take part in some other activities, but in English, not in your native language, right? And as for mastering grammar on your own, how could you do that? First thing first, stop drilling. Stop using word lists. I know that I've mentioned I do it myself, so it's my guilty pleasure. I'm ashamed of it, but I still try to stop drilling. And at the same time, I would recommend you to try to connect English to something really meaningful. For example, I noticed that the biggest step I took was that I started watching English movies. I started watching movies in English without any subtitles, and that way helped me to understand English grammar in the most natural way. And for example, right now, I take English classes to prepare for the CPE exam. And we focus on the most challenging grammar points these days, which is inversion, conditional sentences, and stuff like that, you know. The most challenging points for maybe all English learners and native speakers as well. And I found myself useful reading in English. So let me show you my book. So it's my extensive reading book right now. It's called Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I know that this book is like a bestseller. And when I bought it, I just wanted to read its content. But when I started, I realized that it is full of conditional sentences. It is full of inversion and other grammar stuff, which before made me feel so crazy. So this way is probably the most beneficial way to understand English grammar. So always try to connect it to something meaningful to you. Don't learn English grammar solely from the other skills. If we go back to the very first slide with the stats, you would see that there are just two options, like grammar or vocabulary. What is more difficult? And obviously, there are some other areas in English which might make you feel depressed sometimes, for example, speaking or maybe listening. I know that some people are like more visual people, more visual individuals, and they accept the materials when they are visualized better. So they tend to have problems with listening. And again, when you listen to something, you also hear some grammar. When you read something, you face grammar rules as well. So my recommendation is that you start implementing your grammar learning into your daily life, and you try to find grammar all over yourself, like in English books, in TV shows, and wherever you can. So this is why I believe English grammar isn't that difficult. It's just our attitude and approach to learning it. Okay, what do you guys think? Do you agree or disagree? And the next point would be, well, should there be any formal learning? When we talk about grammar, I believe formal learning is still useful. Sometimes we just don't want to invest that much money into formal classes, for example. But this way, you can get some more experience from, for example, native English speaking teachers. So as for myself, as mentioned before, I take classes in a CPE group, and our English teacher is from the United Kingdom. He's trained in this exam stuff. So when we work on the grammatical points or on vocabulary or any other aspects of English, he gives the most proficient feedback on how to use this or that in the daily life, or what else? Maybe how to write appropriate letters or essays and stuff like that. So I still think that taking classes is something really beneficial for you as a learner. And at the same time, formal learning might take place in your own study process, but I would recommend to combine like some formal ways to learn English and grammar as well, and some informal practices. So, for example, you take a grammar book and then well, do some exercises, and after that go to practice watching your favorite TV show and try to focus on those grammar points which you have just faced. Okay, so this strategy is more proactive and is more helpful from my personal experience as well. Okay, and I also know that some people struggle to practice grammar in their daily life, especially in the speech, because they don't have this environment, they don't have this community of open-minded people. That is why I would like to invite you to the group I have created for this very purpose. I would really like to build a community of open-minded people who are interested in English and who want to use it in their daily life. So if you scan this QR code, you can get directly to that group. Although it doesn't have any content yet, I have just created the first banner, but I promise to create several posts this week and share some tips on how to work on your grammar as well, so that there would be a real approach, like not just motivation like right now. Okay, so I hope that it's something that might interest you, and I would like to welcome you all in this group. Let's just keep in touch. Why not? We can make a great community there. Okay, and what else? All right, so let's go to the next slide. I want to send you a link to this group actually, so that you could find it from the desktop as well. So I will be really pleased if you get into the group and maybe send me some of your feedbacks, for example, on this session, or just, I don't know, just your greetings. I'm really, really eager to communicate with people from all over the world. It's something which fascinates me a lot. And actually last week, there were last week I did the session about Miro and lesson design, and some of you some of you added me as a friend on Facebook, and I had such a nice conversation. Thank you. Thank you, Sidra. So Sidra has just joined the group. So there are two of us. That's so nice to hear. Okay. And let me see what's next. I would like you to invite to brainstorm. Um, I know that you are guys are pretty experienced in English teaching and in English learning. And do you have any idea on how to improve your English grammar? So if yes, and if you are not afraid to share your just gold experience, please do that right now. And I will share your responses on the screen so that everyone could see it. So what are your strategies to master English grammar? So as I have already mentioned, the way I work on my grammar is more active than passive. Of course, I take English classes and I study by the book, but I still try to find grammar wherever I can. When I watch TV shows, for example, the last one I was binge watching is How to Get Away with Murder. Helped me to practice like conditional sentences because there were so many of them. And as for this book, as for the reading part, I also find a lot of um, difficult examples in terms of tenses. What else? Inverted sentences, conditional sentences as well, and many useful vocabulary like some advanced words and phrases. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, that's right. So it's important to practice grammar in your speech as well. So if you, for example, learned some grammatical points, but you don't know how to practice them in your speech, it's a great idea to write down a sentence and practice it as a part of your writing routine, and then probably just read it out loud and record yourself so that you could see, so that you could hear that you use this grammar point correctly. So that's also a great idea, and I believe it's really useful. Sometimes I actually do it myself. And by the way, for some reason, I forgot to add it to the slide, but my favorite way to learn grammar is to teach it. Again, speaking of the TEFL course, as a part of the TEFL course, especially of the 120 hours course, there is a great amount of grammar in it, and it explains how to teach challenging grammatical points well. So it's also a great way for teachers to understand grammar better. What do you think? And by the way, tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, next week on Wednesday, I start teaching a group of advanced students. They are actually going to be like mixed ability students, but some of them are pretty advanced. And the approach I would like to implement is more active. So I will try to focus on speaking and maybe some other productive skills like writing, instead of doing some exercises and stuff like that. So it's gonna be like a conversation group. And I'm so excited that I could found that I could find such such a job opportunity, because I think this way will help me to work on myself as well. Yeah. So teaching grammar is a great way to practice it as well as an English teacher and as an English learner. So if you want to nail it, just start teaching it. Okay. And I can see that there are not that many strategies, but maybe you guys are some hesitant. So don't be afraid to share your ideas. So maybe you use some really interesting strategies on how to learn grammar, and they might help some other people. Don't be afraid to share your ideas on the comments section. And right now, let's go to this section of the presentation, which is the Q&A section. Here we discussed various aspects like TEFL teaching, English learning, and whatever might interest you. So if you have any specific questions, just feel free to ask me via the chat box. And also, what else? Let me think. Yeah, here you can see this QR code. It is the QR code that gives you this really nice 30% discount of any ITTT courses. So if you are willing to start your teaching career, so this is the first step to take. You can just simply scan it and then choose the most interesting course as you think. Okay. Okay, so I can see that there are some other ideas on how to learn grammar, and I would like to share it with you. So the best teach requires two things: target-centered teaching and taking notes of what extent the student is capable of. Yeah, four skills are really important. That's right. Yeah, I agree. But this is more like about teaching, right? Rather than learning. What about some points on how to learn English grammar well? What do you think? Well, and again, anyway, we are here to discuss all stuff around TEFL and EFL learning. So feel free to ask me whatever questions you have, and I will try my best to help you out with it. Okay? So maybe you're interested in a specific TEFL course, but you are doubtful. So it's the time to ask me. And by the way, I would like to make an announcement about the about the session next week. So I am going to invite my friend who is now working in China to have an interview. And yeah, I think this topic will be extremely interesting to many people, because I know that there are still many teachers willing to teach abroad, and China is probably one of the most interesting destinations. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, for example, or the group on Facebook, and keep in touch, because we will make this announcement maybe at the end of the week. So I will create a new event related to this interview, because I think last week one of the viewers from this regular sessions asked me to talk a little bit more about jobs abroad, and he wanted to know more about China. But as long as I stopped teaching in China quite a lot, quite a lot years ago, like how many years? Let me think. So I stopped teaching in China 2 years ago, and I hardly know anything about it right now. So I still have WeChat on my cell phone, but that's all. I don't communicate with any recruiters. I don't follow any groups for English teachers in China. So I don't know anything, but I really want to be valuable, and I want to share the most up-to-date content with you. That's why I decided to invite my friend who is now there. And by the way, he had been teaching in China uh, the whole quarantine period, and he's still teaching there, actually. So that's a really interesting topic to discuss: quarantine in China. Like how was that, and what did they do? How much money they got? Like, you know, everybody was sitting at home at that time, and I'm just really curious about the point of money. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions on TEFL teaching and stuff like that, I think that that is all of today's for the today's session. Just let me remind you that ITTT is presented all over your favorite social networks. So if you want to keep updated, please subscribe to our Facebook group and maybe Instagram if you like it. And yeah, keep in touch. Of course, if you get any questions related to TEFL or teaching abroad, for example, you can ask us on the messenger, or you can email us, and we will try to be as helpful as it is possible. Okay, so this is the end of today's session, and I think that grammar stuff was pretty fast. Well, I would like to remind you once again that I created this Facebook community for English learners and English teachers who really want to feel as a part of a community and as a part of a global community. So feel free to join me, and I will try my best to share my personal experience and some useful content. Thank you so much that you spent these 40 minutes with me. I know that we all are busy people, and sometimes it's like useful to watch some webinars, but sometimes it's not. I still hope that my live session was interesting and it helped you somehow. But if you want to keep in touch with me personally, so join this group or add me as a friend on Facebook. I really like to communicate, and I will be just amazed if there are any people interested in making friends with me. So stay tuned on the next session's topic. It's going to be really interesting, and I hope it will work out, because my friend is pretty busy in China, obviously. And I hope that we will find the best time to make that conversation. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.